Loading. All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday. We have an upper body strength and conditioning session that we are going to get through today. Equipment that you will need today. I will be using my chair and or maybe your training bench, your ottoman, something along those lines, as well as my dumbbells and my bands. The other thing that you can set up and use today is your TRX, as we are going to be doing some of those rowing exercises that TRX is a wonderful option for. Warm up though, you don't need anything except your body. We're gonna start you down on the floor. Actually, come on down here, join me in your all four position. We're gonna get you going with some of our threading of the needle. So we'll take one hand in this all four position, reach it through and under, inhaling here, and then we'll exhale, follow that hand with our eyes, looking up hopefully at the ceiling right above ourselves. Inhaling, closing that, trying to feel that stretch in the upper back. And then we'll exhale, open, squeeze the shoulder blades together, trying to increase that range of motion with every single rep. And we are doing 10 of these on each side. So we'll try our best to keep the legs and the hips from moving. We want to keep them as still as possible, but we are looking for lots of movement in that upper back. So again, opening up the shoulder blades and then squeezing them together as we go through our 10, and then we'll switch and we'll do 10 on the other side. Again, following the hand with the eyes to help promote that range, getting a little bit bigger every rep that we go through. So we're going to get this on both sides. 10 over here, 10 over there, and then do not get too excited about standing up because we have one more down here, which is that scapula retraction and protraction. Technical terms. We're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together and then spread them apart as far as we can, going through 10 reps together and apart is 1. We'll do 10 of these. Same idea here. We're trying to move through the upper back only, limiting the movement through the mid and low back, going through 10 of these, opening up as much as we can, and then squeezing those shoulders together through those 10. So I'll let you guys go through these ones. 10 of them. And then, yes, we can stand up off the floor. Once you're finished those ones, we're going to swing our arms. Going through these arm swings, we know them, we love them. They feel good. They help loosen up everything through the shoulders as well as our chest. So we'll feel that opening stretch through the front as we allow those arms to fall back behind our body, alternating what arm goes up, what arm goes down. We can count these ones. We're doing 20 of them total. There and back is 1, and we are doing 20 of them. As you are going through those, I'm going to set us up on a timer because that's what this next one's for, mostly just so that we don't have to count. They can be a little bit tedious. So for 30 seconds, we're going to start off standing tall, hip width apart, soft knees, hinging the hips back, taking our arms and extending our thumbs so that they're pointing to the sides like this. Straight arms up to the side, and we're just going to pulse right out here. Trying to, once again, squeeze those shoulder blades together. Not worrying so much about the spreading, but more just trying to pull them together, getting that nice activation going between the shoulder blades and all the muscles in our upper back, back of the shoulders. 30 seconds here, trying to get that little burn going, which you might be starting to feel already. The next one that we're going to do is move the arms into this I position. So I'm going to reach them over my head. Same with the thumbs up. Yay. And we're going through another 30 seconds here. Same little pulses in line with the shoulders and then trying to lift them up. Once again, breathing through this. Definitely going to feel that burn that I was talking about on these ones here as we go through about 10 more seconds of this one. So we'll just breathe through this. Try to keep those arms as straight as possible. 3, 2, 1. And then we'll stand back up and circle out our shoulders. Loosen that up. We're going through 5 big circles while keeping the arms straight, extending the fingertips to the floor. 5 circles one way. And then we'll stop and we'll do 5 circles the other way. And trying to get those circles as big as we can without moving the arms for these first 10. Get 5 in each direction. And then we stop. We're going to take one arm, plant it beside our body, and circle out 1. Again, taking those 5 circles now with this straight arm, moving it as big as we can one way, 5 of them, and then we'll stop. We're going to do 5 the other direction, and then of course, we shall do this on both sides. So once you're finished this side, we will do the other side. Again, keeping that other arm straight down by our sides. Trying not to move our body too much, more just relying upon that shoulder mobility, which again, is gonna look a little different for all of us, because we all have different shoulder mobility going on. So we'll go through 5 that way, 5 the other, and I shall pull up my list. Yes. And the last one we're going to do is right back into our infamous arm swings. So you can go ahead and count out 20 more of these guys, maybe feeling a little looser than the first time we did them. And that's going to conclude our warm-up. We're going to get you started on our first exercise. It's 1, and you probably can guess, is a push-up. So we're going to be starting you off with push-ups. Today, we are doing a little test to see how many push-ups we can actually do in a row. We've been doing lots of stuff, lots of interesting things in our push-ups in hopes of getting us stronger and better at completing the push-up. So today we're going to test her out and see how many we can do, good ones, in a row. You're not going to be on a timer or anything. We are going to take rest in between our sets. So let's get down there and let's do our first set. So we're going to get down into that push-up position, and hands a little bit wider than our shoulders. And you are going to complete as many as you can do, okay? So it's going to be different for all of us. Some of us might be working, with 1, 2, maybe 5 push-ups. Others, we're going up, 10, 12, 15, maybe even 20 push-ups. So I want to see what you're capable of right now on this first set. Get her done. You can save maybe 1 or 2 reps so you don't go until complete failure. And then once you're finished, we are going to stand up. And we are simply just going to rest. I mean, I suppose you could stay down on the floor if you would like, but we are going to take this time here to just rest the push-up, think about how we feel. We want to take about 30 to 45 seconds before we go into our next set. And that is very important that you don't jump right into your next set, although I know that you definitely don't feel like you want to. You're going to feel like you want this rest. Remember your number though. So whatever you got there, whether it was 2 or 5 or 15, however many push-ups you got, we are going to try to do the same thing 3 more times, okay? So I've just kind of distracted you a little. We're going to take, again, about 15 more seconds right now. If you would like, between these sets, you can go through some of our shoulder rotations. If you'd like, you can swing out your arms, whatever helps you rest and just distract yourself for a little bit before we go into our next round. So when you're feeling ready, we are going to do it again, trying our best to get the exact same number of push-ups. I don't want you going for more. We're going to try to get that same number, whatever it was, doing them as strong as we can. So thinking about, again, exhaling as we push ourselves off the floor, inhaling as we lower ourselves down, and let's do it. Going through that second set. Again, we are completing 4 rounds total. So again, it is very important that we get the same amount of push-ups. In this second set here, for those of us who maybe didn't take enough rest or maybe limited the rest, didn't take as long, you might feel like it's almost impossible to get that same amount. So what you're going to do on the next set is take a little bit more rest. Okay, do a little lap around your room, around your house, whatever it is, grab some water. Okay, if you have a clock somewhere, you can actually time your rest, or you can just, again, try to take some deep breaths, maybe about 10 of them, before you go into your third set. Okay, so again, whatever number that you got in the very first set, that's what we want. That's what we need, rather, on this third one, as well as our final one, our fourth set. All right, so let's rest it out here. Take the time, enjoy the rest, because we know that most of the time we don't have this strict rest. We're usually flip-flopping between 2 movements, especially when we're just working with 1. And you can feel, probably felt on that second round, why it is so important that we take the rest. Because if you don't, you're going to be fatigued, exhausted, if I do say so, and you won't be able to get that same number of push-ups, which again is crucial. Whatever that number is, which is hopefully, in theory, more than last time that we did this as many reps as possible. So third set, whenever you're ready, we have lots of time. We have about 5 whole minutes to get through 2 more rounds, which is lots of time plus lots of rest. So again, we'll grab water, we'll breathe, we'll do whatever we want to do, but stay close, of course, and go into our third set of these push-ups. Again, trying our best to make them as strong as we did on the very that fresh set that we had the first round. I'm going to try to do that same thing. There you go. So yes, again, all the stuff that we do, those pauses, those slow eccentrics that we've been working on, that lowering negative face, all that stuff is in hopes and in theory going to get you stronger at your push-ups. So hopefully you're feeling good. Again, push-ups are, they're a really challenging exercise for most of us, unless you do them all the time, which, we do them once a week. But for some of us, you'll just be more challenged. Others will be better at them. So just go with whatever number you're getting right now. We have one more set. So on our last set, I want you to get as many as you can. If you can crank out a couple extra, let's try to get those done. But again, I will accept no less than that number that you got on your first round. Okay, but again, if you could squeeze out a couple more, even if they're a little wobbly, a little shaky, I want you to give them to me on this final and fourth set. That being said, I should probably warn you about this maybe, but we do have some push-ups towards the end of the session today as well in our conditioning work. But you already know what you need for this final set, okay? So when you're ready, we have about 2 more minutes. We are going to get this final round of these push-ups in. So feel free to take a little bit more rest. Again, that rest is there so that you can have a stronger and a more successful set. So we will use it because it's there. Okay, let's do it. So I'll let you guys get this done in just under 2 minutes, about 1 minute left. If you finish early, again, you can just rest. Again, think about how good you feel, how strong you felt in your push-ups. Hopefully you did. And if you don't, you might next time that we test. And remember what number you're getting. You probably know, because you've probably been working on this number for a while. Those push-ups, it's not like you're going to just increase, 5 reps overnight or over each week. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. And again, doing all of that little technical work that we work on each week makes a big difference. Okay, so we'll get this done in about 30 seconds. I'll let you finish her up. Squeeze out those last few, those ones that you don't really want to do, the ones where you really need to exhale to literally push yourself off the floor. We'll get those in. As you do come to an end, we are going to move on to our first superset. We're going to combine 2 exercises together. The first one is going to be a single arm row. So I'm going to be using this chair right here with my 2 8-pound dumbbells to create 1 16-pounder. Now would be your time to shine if you have a TRX. If you want to hook that bad boy up, we are going to be working with a single arm neutral grip row. So of course I do not have that set up for the TRX. So I have this chair here. I'm going to put my knee on the chair, my hand on the chair. I have a nice flat back. I'm going to grab onto my dumbbells, both of them in one hand, as our back is a very strong set of muscles. So we want a heavy weight if we have it. And we're going to go through 12 of these reps, pulling it at a normal tempo, unless we want to make it a bit more challenging, in which case we will pause that top end, holding it there for 2 to 3 seconds before we let down each rep. So we'll start this when you're ready, 12 reps on each side. For those of us who do not have a chair, I'm using this to get that additional support for my core and my low back. So if you don't have something like this, you can use a wall, a bookcase, something back of the couch to put your hand on so that you can get that same support that I'm getting from that chair. So we'll go through this first set, 12 and 12 on each side. Try and keep them even. So if you did that little sneaky pause, and we'll try to do that as well on the other side. And then we are going to pair this with another back focused exercise. The second one is down on the floor. It is a straight arm pullover. So if you do not have dumbbells, I got my little loop bands over here that you can hold one side in each hand. But ideally, we want dumbbells. We're going to hold one dumbbell in each hand. If you have a heavier set of dumbbells, you can just use one. Hold it sideways like this. And we shall lay on our back. Make sure that we have space behind us so we don't punch our wall. And first thing we want to do is get ourselves into this position. We're going to pull our shoulders down onto the floor, which will create an arch in your back, which is completely what we want for this. We're going to lower the dumbbells back until they almost touch the floor, and then exhale and pull over back on top of our shoulders, completing 12 reps total. Now in this one, if we want to make this more challenging, what we're going to do is stop back here. So rather than pulling all the way over top of our shoulder to here, we're going to limit that range, which is going to keep more tension on those back muscles, and in turn, make your weight feel heavier than it actually is. So we're doing 12 reps total, and exhaling and pulling up. If you find this weight is too heavy to keep your arms straight, just put a dumbbell down, hold one sideways, and then we can work with just the single dumbbell, going through our 12 reps total. Now, back on back. So we are going to take a little bit of rest. As you finish up your straight arm pullovers, we'll take about 30 to 45 seconds of rest before we go into our next set of our rows. Because again, we're using very similar muscles in both of these exercises. And so again, we want to allow them to rest a little bit before we jump into our second set. We will have 3 more to make it 4 rounds total. So again, we'll grab water, rest it out, maybe not taking as much rest as we did between our rounds of push-ups. But we will take some, so not jumping right into our second set like we do sometimes. Let's talk about banded options. So if you don't have dumbbells, what you're going to do is grab your loop band and loop it around your foot, and you can go through this. This is actually a great option if you have lighter dumbbells and you find that they're not that hard, even with the pause, because what you can do is add double band. So I can take 2 bands, put them around my feet, and now that is going to make this 12 feel extremely challenging compared to the single band or potentially the dumbbells that you have. Because I know that some of our dumbbells are on the lighter side, or maybe they're too heavy. We all have that little challenge with our equipment at home, and the nice thing about the bands is that it sort of fills that gap in between the two. And you know, every day is different. Some days we want to challenge ourselves, so you might want to try out that banded option instead of the dumbbells if you want to. Okay, so when you're ready, let's get it. Second set, back into our rows. Now when we're pulling in for those rows, I'll show you guys from the side, we want to make sure that we're creating that 90-degree angle in our arm here. So we're sending that wrist sort of into where our belly button is, rather than kind of pulling up into our armpit like this. The other thing that's very important is that we have that active shoulder blade. So as I pull in, I'm not just pulling in my arm, or else I'll end up with this little chicken wing, which we're not looking for. We want to drive that shoulder back behind the ear, and this applies to any equipment, from the TRX, the band, the dumbbells, whatever it is. That active shoulder, so that we have that 90-degree angle, plus it's going to make you feel this a lot more through this lat muscle, the one that runs down the side of your back. That's what we're looking to work here. So if you're not feeling that, might be something that you want to focus on a little bit more, is again trying to wrap that shoulder back behind your ear and not just the hand and the elbow, and see if that helps you get that feeling going on. Because again, that is very important that you're actually actively feeling this in the right place, which is why I talk about it, so that you can focus on it. So we'll take that into our next set. Again, going through our 12 and 12 on each side. And then no time in between except the time that it takes you to get set up down on the floor here to go into our straight arm pullovers. So again, we'll make sure we have some space over our head. Pull the shoulders onto the mat. So that's really important. We don't want our shoulders floating off the mat like this, because then when we go through our set, we're actually putting a lot of strain and stress on our shoulder. So by pulling them down and sort of squeezing our shoulder blades together, you'll feel your low back pop off the floor, but we're not trying to work our core. So that's completely fine to have our back off the floor, because we're not doing that core and ab work. We're trying to focus on our back muscles. So we want to pull the shoulders down and then keep them down the entire set, not allowing them to pop off anytime. Because all that's going to do is take the work off your back, as well as potentially put your shoulders at risk, which is not part of the deal. That's never what we're looking for, because we want to be doing this forever, for as long as possible, that is. Injury-free, especially if you're someone with pre-existing shoulder injuries. That might be, again, something that you have to think about a little bit extra. The other thing with this one, depending on what weight you have, is you might want to, again, limit your range of motion. So we're just working with a comfortable range, lowering down, and then pulling up. But we want to feel like we're in control the whole time. So if you're lowering down all the way to this point here, and you feel, again, pinchy pain in your shoulder, you feel like you're not really getting that tension in your back, then maybe just don't go so low. And just, again, work with that range where you are feeling that tense back tightness. Okay, there you go. So lots of stuff to think about. Rest. And then we have 2 more sets of this very back-focused superset. All the back work, which is probably the most important work. Number 1, it helps with posture, but the stronger we can make all those muscles in the back, and the safer that we are going to be whenever we're training our upper body, preventing any sort of injuries happening in our shoulders. I don't need to convince you though, because you're already here doing it. All right, so we'll get through this 3rd set, get her done, finishing up strong, and then we shall rest a bit. We have some time with it. You have about 5 minutes to finish up your 3rd set, rest, and then we have our final one, set number 4, before we move on to part 3 of the strength. Had to think about that. Almost forgot about those push-ups. I know you didn't though. Probably still feeling them. All right, so we'll get these done. Straight arms, and then we'll rest. Yes, think about what we're feeling. Again, hopefully you're feeling your back, these ones running down the sides. And if you're not, you have one more opportunity to get that feeling going on. So I talked about those pauses. Absolutely think about those on this last set if you want to challenge yourself. And remember that if you choose to pause your reps, so again, pulling in and holding, we need to do that every single rep, okay? So holding in every one and on both sides. Even if you feel like one side is a little bit easier than the other, we want to make sure that we are doing whatever we do on one side on the other side, especially on our last set where we are the most tired, and you know, we're done with it, we're almost done, our mind is done with it. We want to make sure that we're taking our time and being even on both sides. This is your last chance, so let's get it done, okay? 2 minutes left before we shall move on to the next part, which is actually also the last part to our upper body strength. And then we have that nice Sweaty conditioning circuit that we are going to get through that will take us to the finish line of today's session. Okay, so we'll rest. We'll get this last set done. Then optional pauses. Really trying to, again, have your shoulders move as much as you can through all of your reps. All 12 and 12. Plug us in, because we are dying. There we go. Okay. So get through this last set. And finishing strong on both of these, the rows as well as our straight arm pullovers. Okay, going through this last set. 12 of them. Taking our sweet time, because we know if we go slower, it always, unless we're doing cardio, which is not right now, makes things harder. So if you'd like to, again, challenge yourself, slower down on this last set. Once you're done, again, we will rest. We have about 1 minute, just under that, before we are going to start our final part of the strength. And then we are moving on. So for our last superset that we are going to do, we're going to keep this chair out here as we are going to be starting off with our bench dips. In my case, our chair dips. So again, if you do not have a bench or a chair like this, you have options, which I'm going to talk about right now, because you should be done that back focus superset. So the dips, yes. We're gonna be working with these, doing 10 reps total. We have a little bit of sneaky core work up in here and a bit of stability work as well, because rather than just keeping our feet on the floor, dipping up and down, we're gonna lift up a leg and do 5 with this leg lifted, like so. And then we'll switch and do 5 with this leg lifted, like so. Same rules apply. Straight legs or straighter legs is going to be more challenging. Bent legs is going to be easier, but that same leg lift is going to apply wherever your feet end up. Those of us who don't have a chair or a bench, you most likely have a wall because you are in your house and you have walls in the house. What we're going to do is same thing. Lift up a leg, work with that tricep wall extension, 5 with the one leg, and then we'll switch and we'll do 5 with the other leg. By lifting up that leg, what we're doing is, again, we're throwing off that balance. We're putting a little bit of extra work on that opposite tricep, which you will most likely feel a lot as you go through your first set. So when you're ready, let's start this first set. Again, we're doing 10 total. We want 5 with the one leg up, and then 5 with the other leg up. And then we are going to have another movement with this one, which is a little bit less thinking. You kind of have to think about this one a little with that leg lift up there, that we'll talk about as you finish up your first set of these here dips. You will have 4 opportunities, 3 after this first one. So we're going to do this one here and then 3 more sets to get this done. Okay, so again, play around with your feet. A little distance makes a big difference. Having a couple steps out or a couple steps in, that applies to the chair as well as to our wall. If I step further away from the wall, move my hands down, it's going to be a lot harder than if I'm closer and move my hands up. We want to maintain that 90 degrees in the elbow, and that again also applies to our chair dips or our bench dips. So this is our first one. We're going to pair this one with a wide grip row. So I'm going to be using my dumbbells. TRXs are another wonderful option for these ones here. We're going to start off standing nice and tall, hip width apart, soft knees, hinging the hips back, moving the hands in front of us, palms face the legs, and then we pull up into this wide 90-degree position with elbows. Do a little shoulder check, make sure you're there, making sure that our wrist is sitting under our elbow, pulling up and apart at the top, and then down together at the bottom. 15 is our number to be on these ones. So we're working with 15 reps total. Again, trying to exhale as we pull up. Those of us who are using bands, we're gonna again take that band here and try to pull up and apart against that band. Woo! That was a little strong for that. So this is our first set. The difference between this superset and the other ones that we did, or the other one, is that we are not going to take any rest. So once you're finished your wide grip rows, which again you should be feeling in the back of the shoulders, get on down there. We are going to do it again right into our second set of those dips with the one leg up. So again, we'll complete 5 and 5 and 3 more sets. Okay, so we're going back to back between these two, limiting the rest, and then, yeah, you're gonna be done. This strength, which is good news, although I already kind of warned you that we have some sneaky push-ups at the end. We'll talk about those when we get there. So we'll just try to get between these two. Again, back and forth. Same rules apply if you're using TRX. We want to make sure that those elbows are lifted up into that 90-degree position. Same position I'm reaching in this bent over row here. And again, trying to have those active shoulders, squeezing the shoulder blades together through all 15. Now, because we're going into that high rep range, you most likely are feeling pretty challenged, worked in the back of the shoulders. That being said, the same rules apply as we had on that one arm row. You want to challenge yourself, make it a bit harder. Maybe your weights are kind of on the light side. What you can do is hold up and don't leave here for 1, 2, even 3 seconds. And you can do that on all your reps. And by the time you finish your set, you're going to feel this a lot more than if you're just sort of going up and leaving that top end position, which might be adequate depending on what weight that you have or if you're using the bands. All right, second set, very nice. So we have 2 more rounds. Lots of time to get through it. We've got 6 minutes before we should start talking about our final part, which is our conditioning circuits. Best for last. Just kidding, it's most likely going to be the hardest for most of us. For the push-ups. All right. So we'll get through these ones. Trying our best to hustle through these sets. The dips, the rows. We want to challenge ourselves. So we don't want to be thinking that we can get more than 10 of those dips. So whatever you need to do on your last set, maybe again, straightening out your legs a little bit more. Okay, slowing down, because we know that always makes these strength movements harder, is simply just going slower. You don't necessarily need to pause anywhere in the dips, but just lowering down, pushing up a little bit more controlled, not rushing through your set, although I know you probably want to just get this done and be finished with it. But again, we're here to challenge ourselves. So let's try to do that and bring that in here on our final set. We have about 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes to finish this up. So that's lots of time for you to take your sweet time, as much as you might not want to, on this last set, okay? Because this is it, the final round of the dips of the wide grip rows. 2 minutes until I shall start talking about our last circuit that we're going to do. As you guys finish up this part here, I'm going to set up our timer for this last part. Where are we? Perfect. Okay, so take time with it. The dips, the rows. And then we shall rest. So once you're finished, again, you can grab some water. Shake it out. Actually, we are done with our dumbbells and our bench and chair. So if you're like me and your chair is kind of taking up some space, then I am just going to go ahead and move it out of the way. And as well as the dumbbells, we have a nice body weight conditioning circuit that's going to finish us off, which usually body weight stuff is harder than the weighted stuff. We'll see how we feel. The last thing that you might need to adjust here is putting on your supportive footwear, because we are going to have some high impact options here. Of course, I have options for those of us who do not jump, but putting on your shoes is just going to give you that additional support for your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, which is a good idea when we're jumping around like this. So we'll take about 30 more seconds to finish this up. If you're done, again, we'll just grab some water, walk it off, get yourself set up here with lots of space, because that's all we need. And our number one piece of equipment, aka our body, for this last part. So what we're going to do is be working off an interval timer, which is always good news because it means that you do not have to count. Although for this first exercise, we do have an option to count, which is the more challenging option. So we have a walk-out push-up that's going to take us off through our first movement. We're working off of an interval timer of 60 seconds on, and we have a nice, long 30 seconds of rest time between each movement. So we're going to work hard for 60 seconds, rest for 30. I'm going to show you this first exercise, and then I will talk about the other 3, because there's 4 total, on that 30 seconds as we start our first round. We're doing just 3 sets total of this today, okay? So you'll have 3 chances, 3 opportunities to do each of these movements. Again, first one's a walkout push-up. Now, easier version would just be hip width apart, straight legs, walking out to the bottom, completing a push-up, and then walking up to the top. Okay, again, I say easy, it's still gonna be hard, but it's the easier compared to the second option, which is doing an ascending set. So you start off doing 1 push-up, walk back up, and then you can walk out, and then we'll do 2 push-ups. 1, 2, and then you'll walk back up. And then we go down, we do 3, 4, hopefully working up to maybe 5 or 6 before that 60-second timer is off. So that's optional, okay? But again, I do encourage you to try it, as it is the more challenging option. To count a little bit, that's going to be our first one. Then we'll take 30 seconds of rest, in which case I will show you the second movement, and so on between our 3 following this one. All right, are you guys ready? Ready is where we're going to be. All right, so I'm going to start this timer in 5 seconds. So if you're not ready, get ready. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Nice, solid starting beat. First set, again, walking down to the bottom, completing that nice, strong push-up, and then walking up to the top, standing tall, and then doing it again. So again, we can do that ascending set, which would be, again, adding a push-up every time we walk out to the bottom. Seeing again if we can challenge ourselves and get up to maybe doing 5 or even 6, maybe even 7 push-ups at the bottom. But 5 is the most realistic number to go for on the set. And then the 2 more that we're going to have to do after this. 20 seconds left, my friends. So again, you have to hustle through this one, through the walk out and the walk up in order to reach that number, if that's what you're going for. 10 seconds left. There you go. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, so that is our first one. Now we're going to take this nice 30 seconds of rest before we start our second one, which is going to be our lateral bound. So we're going to bound side to side, catching ourselves in this slight lunge position, kicking that opposite leg back behind the hip, working with our opposite arms. For those of us who don't jump, we're just going to tap the floor behind us and trying to, again, get the arms going. And that was your starting beep. So let's go. We're trying to move quickly, exploding out of that position. The further, the more explosive you jump, of course, the more challenging you're going to be. That being said, we need control here. We don't want to be flopping all over the place. We want to set up those arms, catch ourselves nice and soft, and use the leg to push ourselves over sideways. Laterally, the lateral bound. There you go, 30 seconds left. Trying to pace yourself and also push yourself. Let's do it. Okay, so we'll work through these ones. Let's get it. 10 seconds left. Breathing through this. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and time. Okay, the next one, we are going down onto the floor, working with a plank jack. But again, don't get down there yet. We're going to take time, give this nice 30 seconds of rest where we're breathing, trying to get in that oxygen, maybe drinking some water between our sets. between our exercises. Headed down onto the floor. 10 seconds before we start, so you can come on down here. Hands, high plank position. We're gonna jump our feet in and out of that plank jack. And let's go. So we're trying our best to avoid too much bouncing and lifting in the hips. Although there is a little bit happening, we don't want our hips to be lifting to the ceiling like so. We want to keep them in that strong plank. For those of us who don't jump, we're going to tap our feet right and left, side to side. Most importantly here is maintaining that plank. So if you can't keep going with the in and out of the feet, just hold the plank. Just hang out there, breathe. Feeling a little leftover from yesterday, from those planks that we did. 20 seconds left. Okay, so again, pace yourself. So you don't have to stop, and you can keep doing this, or at least holding the plank the entire time, in which we have 10 seconds left. Let's go. Breathing through this one, because you gotta breathe, or else you'll feel a little dizzy, lightheaded, and rest. Okay, stand on up here. The last one, we have a variation of high knees. So our standard high knees looks like this. For those of us who are low impact, we can do this. We want to challenge ourselves. We're going to have our arms in front of us, and we're going to try to cross towards that opposite knee with the elbow. Same rules apply if you are low impact, and that is us for the last 60 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So by having that little upper body action here, you probably feel what's going on. We have a little bit of that sneaky core work. And of course, coordination is happening here. So we're trying to keep up the upper body with the lower, working through this one at a pace that we can maintain. So if you need to kind of slow down a little bit, speed up, you want to push yourself, you're in full control of yourself for 30 more seconds. Most importantly is that you don't stop. So even if you just go into the low impact, you can try to bring it back up or just slow down in that higher one. 20 seconds left. Woo! Let's get it. Pushing ourselves. Remember, the good news is we only have 3 rounds. So we got this one, 2 more. We are done. So we're getting there. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Time. All right, my friends. There it is. That was our first set. Yeah, a little harder than it sounds, I know. We're going to do it again. Back to that very first one, our walkout push-up with the potential ascending set. 10 seconds, okay? So take some deep breaths. Try to calm yourself down a bit, just so that we can get you going right back up there again. 3, 2, let's go. Starting our second round, back into our walkout with that push-up at the bottom. Let's get it. So again, if you couldn't quite get up to the 5, I'll try to just be quicker. In the walkout, the walk up. Breathe through those push-ups. And again, pace yourself so that you can keep doing this for this entire minute, which we have 30 seconds left of, so we're halfway through. There you go. So breathing through this one and using that breath. It's your power. You feel it. We're exhaling, pushing ourselves off the floor. Trying to be strong. 15 seconds, even though we already did all those push-ups today. These ones are just kind of bonus to the AMRAP. As many reps as we did at the beginning. Keep it going. Last one. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay. Nice work. So we're breathing, resting. We have this 30 seconds, which I know flies by. It doesn't even feel like it's that long, but it is a little longer than we normally have because these movements that we're doing today are a lot more challenging than some of the other ones that we do, including the second one, which is that lateral bound. Okay, so starting in 10 seconds, we're going to be working with our second set. So if you want to challenge yourself, what you can do is sit a little bit lower into that lunge on that leg, which is going to involve more of your actual leg muscles. On the flip side, if you feel your legs and you're not going to make it because they're so tired, you don't have to sit so low. Because most importantly in this one is getting your heart rate up. It's not about working the legs, which we might even feel a little bit left over from yesterday. It's about getting your conditioning, your cardio going, which I would prefer you to move faster, and maybe not sit so low, getting more powerful sideways bounds going. 30 seconds left for you to get that going for yourself on the second set of 3. One more after this one. Let's do it. 20 seconds left. Okay. Pushing ourselves right to the end until we hear that timer go off. You'll be picking up your pace here, last 10 seconds. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Time. So good. Okay. Resting. So again, moving helps. Between these sets, if you are feeling really hot and heavy gas, like your heart is beating out of your chest, do a couple laps around your mat, around the space you have in the room that you are in. And it's going to help you sort of calm down, let your heart rate come down, and overall just feel a bit better than if you just stand still or bent over against the wall. Down into that plank position, starting in 3, 2, and let's go. Jumping those feet in and out in those plank jacks. Woo! And this one is, it's always challenging when we combine, that core work with this cardio, which is why you're feeling the way you're probably feeling right now. So again, we'll try to just pace ourselves. Even if you slow down, you forget the jump, you just work with a tap right and left. Prefer that over you going hard in the jump and then having to stop and drop your knees down. You want to avoid that at all costs. Staying in that strong plank. Although I know it doesn't feel so strong when you're doing it. But 20 seconds left. And it's very important that we tap into that uncomfortable feeling, what you're probably feeling right now. We push ourselves through it so that we can get fitter and stronger and better at doing these things. 10 seconds left. You got this. Let's go. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Time. Potentially the hardest one, right? Okay, stand it up. I don't know. This last one, the high knees are pretty challenging. Woo! We're going to take some time right now, 20 seconds, before we go into that next set of knees. So again, if you tried this sideways one and you found it was just too much, let's go back to our normal high knees with the pumping of the arms this way. And it really does crank it up a notch. And again, you might find it's hard to maintain for the whole minute. You can even go back and forth between the two. You can go this, and then when you're feeling good, you can add in that sideways rotation. And if you feel like you're going to lose it, like you can't keep going, we'll go back to the high knees with the arms. Whatever it is, we need you to keep your body moving this entire time. 35 seconds left. We got this. So we're breathing through this. Finishing the second set. Strong, just as strong as we were in the first one. 20 seconds. There you go. So breathing, trying to pace so we don't have to stop until we hear that beep. Which is going to go off in 10 seconds. Let's go, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay. We have one more set. And then we are done. We have a couple stretches. Then we are out of here. Starting our day, getting on with our day. Feeling amazing because we're going to push ourselves so hard in this final set. Okay? 10 seconds left. Again, take those deep breaths. Try to send that air into your tummy, not just into your chest. Walkout push-up. 3, 2, and let's go. Final set. Final time that you have to do this today. This is all of the push-ups that we have this week. So let's finish up strong here. Try to push ourselves. Maybe try doing that ascending set if you want to challenge yourself. Again, hustling, whatever you're doing. Okay, down to the bottom. You want to finish this set feeling extremely uncomfortable. That's why we are here. 20 seconds left. You got this. So we'll push through. We'll try to get through at least 2, maybe 3 more of these. Hustling to our last couple. 10 seconds. Yes. Last one. Finishing strong. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And nice work. Okay. Push-ups are done. That's always good news. All right. Lateral bounds. So again, because we're getting tired, I mean, we already were, but this is the most tired set that we're going to feel. Try our best to keep this a lateral movement. We'll stay facing forward with our shoulders, with our hips, so that we're traveling sideways and we're not accidentally sort of leaning and turning to the side. Let's go. Let's do it. Opposite arm, opposite leg. We'll try to connect those two, even if you kind of got to stop and slow down and do that little setup before you start. Let's do it. Okay, last set, last chance, 45 seconds for you to do as much as you can. Bounding yourself side to side. There it is, landing as soft as possible so we're not stomping the ground on our floor. 30 seconds left. So more than halfway through this one. And breathing. Let's go. Let's go, let's go. We'll keep the arms moving. 15 seconds left, my friends. Let's go. Right and left. Okay, a little bit faster towards the end. Further in the bounds. 5 seconds. 3, 2, last one. Woo! All right. Rest. Rest, rest, rest. So again, we'll take this time, do a couple laps before we get down into that plank position for our last round of our plank jacks. Okay, so less than 10 seconds. So let's get down here as much as we, don't want to while we're here, so we can do all this stuff together. Okay, let's do it. Last round, third set of these jacks. Whatever you're doing, again, we'll try our best to hold this plank as strong as we can. Okay, no knees touch the floor until that timer beeps. If you're really not going to make it in the plank, widen up your feet. Try your best to just breathe and hold it. And don't give up on yourself. Just like we talked about last day, you have to hold the plank in order to get stronger and better at it, which means forcing yourself through that very uncomfortable, that shaky, I need to stop feeling. Usually you can still work through that. It's your brain, it's your head that you have to convince. That's why, again, people can hold planks for hours, which we will never be doing, but always like to think about it. 10 seconds left. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, and finished that one. We have this last exercise, our high knees, okay, again, with the optional elbow twisting drive. And that starts in 15 seconds, okay? So deep breaths. Trying to get that air in. The more oxygen you can get in right now, the better you're going to feel, the stronger you're going to feel. So we'll try to take those deep breaths. 5 seconds. 3, 2, let's go. Okay, final round. Whatever one you're doing, we'll try to finish up strong. Okay, if you're doing a low impact, we will hustle so that we can push ourselves here. This is it. 45 seconds to the finish line of this one and of today's session. So that's great news that you are almost there. 30 more seconds of your life on these high knees. You'll be done them. Again, fourth day, fourth week, which is what you've been waiting to hear this whole time. 20 seconds left. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Maybe picking up your pace a bit right now, and you really don't want to. You really just want to stop. 10 seconds left, so let's try to crank it up. Finish just as strong, if not stronger, than how we started. 3, 2, 1, and time. All right, everyone, we are finished. What we're gonna do now is just cool the heck down, because we are probably feeling Very hot and heavy. I know I am, and all I was doing was kind of demoing, showing this and talking to you guys. So I know that you're feeling very worked right now. So what we're going to do is do a few laps again around our room, around our house, around our mat, whatever it is, because movement is going to help us cool down and calm down a lot more efficiently than just sitting or standing still. So we want to keep moving. And again, trying to take those deep breaths, not the shallow chest breaths, which is something that you actively might have to think about, because naturally we kind of just want to into our chest. So we'll try to get that air in, which is going to help your heart rate come down, which is all that we're doing right now. Plus maybe drinking our water because we're feeling gassed. So we're going to take this time. We do have a few stretches that we are going to do together. But again, cool down, calm down. Before you join me with these stretches, we're going to take about 2 minutes, which you can just take right now. Don't worry about timing yourself. We're going to feeling. So again, we don't want to be feeling like we're huffing and puffing. You want to feel like you could actually answer it today. You can actually answer it efficiently without, again, breathing hot and heavy into your chest. So again, we'll take some time. Drink some water, which I need to do. And then just inhale a fluff, a dog hair. We don't know what it was, but we're gonna rest. As soon as you feel okay, like again, you could hold down that combo. We're gonna stretch out our chest and shoulders. So we'll start off with putting a hand on a wall. If you have a door frame, it's a much more efficient way to do this. You can go between your door frames and you can do both sides at once. I'm just going to use this wall right here, hand on the wall, excuse me, and then we'll turn our body away from that wall, getting this nice opening stretch through the chest and the shoulders. And we'll hold this here, taking 30, maybe even 60 seconds on each side. So if you want to join me here, I will time you guys. Or if you need a couple more minutes, then you can time yourself. We'll try our best to stay in this stretch for at least 30 seconds so that we can get that opening benefit for our chest and shoulders. I talk a lot about our posture. You guys are holding that there. We do a lot of push-ups, and we do all this pushing and all the work in the front. We also do a lot of back work, but if we don't openly and actively stretch out our chest, we'll kind of end up eventually having a sort of forward situation in our shoulders and arms, especially because real life promotes this forward, from our driving to our desk, our computer, to our sitting, to our kids down here. So we want to take some time to open up our chest as well as, again, strengthen those back muscles in order to really get that good posture promotion. So we'll go ahead and switch sides. You can switch arms. If you're sitting in that door frame, you just hang out there. I don't know what I just inhaled, but it is in there. We are going to hold this here, 30 seconds on this side. And now that we have 2 shedding dogs, it's like always a tumbleweed in here. And we're going to hold this second side here, opening up our chest, breathing, trying to exhale and feel that tension. So this should not be painful. It shouldn't be like, oh, when you're doing this. You should just feel tension. And as you hold there and you breathe into it, it gets more and more comfortable. Eventually, maybe you are a little deeper than when you started. So that's our first one. The second one that we're going to do, and the last one, is for our back muscles. Because again, we did a lot of work back there. We're going to also stretch that out, open it up. I'm going to use this here bookshelf, and I'm going to hold on to each side, one hand on each side. You can also use, again, your TRX, your door handles, something along these lines, back on the couch to hold on. And then we're going to reach our hips back behind us, opening up our lat muscles where we did all that work, trying to push our chest down to the floor. And we'll hold this here for, again, 30 to 60 seconds. And we breathe. So we'll hold and hang out here. And trying to open up our back, sinking into this one. Of course, we're going to feel maybe a little bit of stretching through the back of the legs, the lower back. But again, we should actively feel this muscle down the side of our back, opening up. So we hold this here. So as you are holding this stretch, you are done with me. So if you'd like, you can hang out here. There are a couple more stretches that I'm going to quickly show you while you're holding that, including our shoulders, the back of our shoulders. If you'd like, you can reach your arm over across your body, send the opposite one up and under, pull it in, and we'll just get that nice opening shoulder stretch here. We're not going to hold these ones together, but you might want to do them because they feel good and they're going to help sort of loosen up that upper body if you're really feeling it. So you can go ahead and do this on both sides. Same hold, 30, maybe even 60 seconds on each side. And then the last one is reaching behind our back, interlacing our fingers, and then pulling our arms up, hands away from the hips, getting that again, nice stretch through the chest, a little bit more focused in the shoulders as well. So again, another one that will help you get that good posture going. So if that's something that you actively know that you need to work on, if you are a little bit forward like this, you will definitely benefit from holding a little bit of this action here. Okay, my friends, you are done with me. Thank you so much for joining me for another upper body strength and conditioning session. Hopefully you feel good after that one. That was quite the workout there. I will see you guys tomorrow for our full body conditioning, and I hope you all have a great day. See you tomorrow. And my replay watchers, I always love reading your comments, even though I don't really reply to them, but I do see them all, and I love them. So drop them below. Let me know how you feel after the session, and I will catch you next time. Okay, bye, you guys.